Hello everyone, I'm going to be showing you how to do some track connectors, like the ones I've been making on this coaster. They look a bit like this. They're sort of like a box connector up here, going to the normal pipe support. It's just the prefab supports edited a bit. Yeah, and I've done them all for this element through here. Up to here now. I'm just going to show you how I do my next one. So let's unfreeze the coaster. So here's just the prefab supports. You adjust them to where you want them to be. I want mine to be just about here, it's about equidistant between these two. Anyway, so you go ahead to Supports tab and Atomize Prefab. So that's just splitting this prefab up into all of its components. And the first thing I do is set these nodes to the right position. So these are a bit too close for me to do what I want, so I'm just going to use page down to move them down. You can use page up and page down to move your nodes. I'm going to move them down to about this far away. I'm just going to select this one at the bottom as well. I'm just going to drag them until I'm looking here to make sure that this beam's aligned with the track connector here. It's pretty much aligned. I'm going to adjust it further in the future. As good as we're going to get for now. Okay, the next thing I do, I delete this beam here. We're actually going to turn it into two beams connected by a free node, so just select this node here, and then when you choose add free node, it'll put it in just about the same position as this one. If you select something over here, for instance, and go add free node, it's going to put it all the way over there. So yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to select something close. And you can go add free node and it'll add it exactly where you want it. So then we'll add beams between both of these. These beams are going to be, one of them, if you saw my supports before, one of them is going to be just the same as the support down here. And this one up here is going to be my support connector. So let's edit this one first. So yeah, this is completely wrong. So I want this to be the same color as the supports. So you go change the color mode to support color. The beam type, my support's down here. If I just double click on this, it's a 20-inch pipe. I'll change this to 20-inch pipe. Next thing, I've got a bit of a extra length here, but I don't want that for this support, so I'm just going to set that to 0. There we go. So these two are exactly the same. One of them's just angled a bit differently. This one here is going to be the bit that connects to the track. I'm going to change this to, it's already set up kind of. I'm going to set this to spine color instead of support color. So that's going to be the same color as the track. Beam type is custom box beam. You can do it as a pipe as well, but for my coaster I'm going to use custom box beam. The profile width, you really set this based on your coaster type. It took me a lot of playing around with this coaster with these supports to get these parameters the way I wanted them to be. But what I've chosen is 0.37. It's just a box. Profile height and width exactly the same. Okay, and the extra length is just, I want about 0.15 meters going into the track here. I found that's the best value for this coaster, but you really got to play around with that based on your own preferences. So once you've set this up, you want to sort of align this so it's straight. And the best way to do that is to get a flange and place flanges on each of these two beams here. So one on the top beam, one on the bottom beam. You can just drag them into each other. And what this does is there'll be, I'll freeze it in a second so you can see, but it'll look quite nice. You've got a flange on either side, and you can just align that. I actually want this to be a lot higher up than this, closer to the track connector. You want to align this until they're aligned quite well. You just adjust this. So you can see the flange, these cylinders here. Once you align it so that these polygons are missing their edges. Like you see here, there's like a bit of an edge. I'm going to get rid of that so that they're a uniform shape. And there we go, that should look pretty decent. Now the last thing we need to do, I'll show you, the last thing we need to do is rotation. So if I just freeze this coaster, it'll be more obvious. It's a bit of a tedious process, but here we go. This you can see this cube here, well, pretty much a cube, it's a prism. It's not rotated correctly. You want it to be rotated in the same direction as the track. If you're using a pipe, you won't have to worry about this because obviously you rotate a cylinder in any direction, it's going to look the same. There's an issue here though, because I can change this rotation angle, but it's not going to show up until we freeze the coaster. You don't want to be freezing the coaster every time because that takes ages. So if you just go down to node offsets, if you set a bit of a relative X offset, I'm going to go 2 meters, you'll see this bit of the support sort of sticks out like that. Really easy to visualize what sort of angle you've got going on here. I'm just going to align myself perfectly above this track connector here so that it's, you know, facing straight towards me, equidistant on both sides. Then we can adjust this rotation. I think we want to be close to 0 because it aligns with the grid. Pretty much 0. I'm going to go down a bit more. Pretty much 0. But if it wasn't so aligned with the grid, you'd need to rotate it quite a lot. So I think we're going to be alright leaving this one at 0 degrees. So now we need to get rid of this offset. The support will go back to its original position. And so now if we freeze, you get a coffee while it's freezing. It'll take a long time sometimes. You can see this, the prism aligns quite well up with the track. And as I was saying that here, the 2 flanges on both sides looks pretty decent. And yeah, to see this pipe sort of just goes on an angle. It's a pretty basic track connector. Basically for these track types like this one where they don't have a default track connector, it's an easy way to make it look alright. Anyway, it's going to take a while to do this for the entire coaster, but what can you do? This is NoLimits. So I'll get back to it. Hopefully this helped you.